Welcome back to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you search Locked On Sports Atlanta. Lauren Jabara from Bally Sports will join me coming up here in the final segment of the show on this Friday. Make sure you give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On ATL. Of course, I'm at Mark Zinno, MarkZinno. And check out all the great shows we have here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. After A to Z, you have Hitting Hard with John Chuckery, ATL Day Ones with Jarvis Davis and Tanitra Batiste, our Braves postcast with Grant McCauley. Don't forget about Locked On Hawks and Locked On Falcons. Locked On Hawks is with Aaron Freeman. I'm sorry, with Brad Rowland, and Locked On Falcons is with Aaron Freeman. So a great group of folks here, guys, trying to do the best we can to bring you everything you need for Atlanta sports right here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us that thumbs up, that like, and we certainly appreciate you guys being along for this journey with us. It's been a lot of fun so far, and we'd love to hear some feedback from you guys out there, whether it's on social media or otherwise, on what you think of the job that we're doing so far. So please get in touch with us. And of course, you guys know I love the debate on Twitter. So hit me up there again at Mark Zinno, MarkZinno. All right. Atlanta Braves. They are starting. It is now a 8-game homestand after being out on the road. And a lot of us are wondering when the Braves are finally going to kick it in gear and when it's all going to start to come together. I mean, they're 6.5 games back. The New York Mets, who won a wild game last night, came down from 6 runs in the bottom of the ninth inning to beat the Phillies and gut punched them right there. But nonetheless, this is a Braves team that hasn't performed the way we thought they would. However, they're starting to turn it around. The run differential is only -8 right now, and they're starting to play a little bit better and get a little more consistent pitching. I have tried to implore you guys to be patient. I've tried to implore you to stop hitting the panic button. I've tried to tell you that they are not in a bad position at all, and yet people want to see this team be back where they were at World Series caliber level, and they aren't there yet. So they have an 8-game homestand coming up, right? Big weekend here at Truist Park as it's Henry Aaron weekend or week, whatever it is. And they get the Milwaukee Brewers in town. They'll wear the throwback unis tonight, which are really sweet. I'm really excited for that. And my guess is Ronald Acuna hits his first home run tonight. Book it. He hits home runs in those uniforms. I don't know why. Just call it a bet that I'm willing to make. Ronald Acuna gets his first home run in these 74 throwback uniforms. But they got 3 against Milwaukee, 2 against Boston, and 3 against San Diego. Now, here's what I'm going to predict where I think they are going to get over 500. Now, if they go 6-2 in these 8 games, which means they take 2 out of 3 from Milwaukee, take 2 out of 3 from San Diego, and sweep the 2-game series with Boston, they're 6-2. That would put them at 18-17, above 500 when it's all said and done, when this homestand is done, right? I think that is a good possibility. However, I don't think that is what's going to happen, given where they are right now. Ian Anderson is pitching at home. He has not been good there this year, strangely enough. You get Charlie Morton, who has 2 chances, both of them against really good teams right now in San Diego and Milwaukee. He's got to face them twice. And Kyle Wright gets a start against Boston, which is an easy win for him. But against San Diego, a little bit of a different challenge, especially since you're going to see Darvish, Manaea, and Musgrove in the 3 games against San Diego, probably their 3 best pitchers. So it might be more like 5-3, and there'll be a game under 500 when it's all said and done, which means they take 2 out of 3 from Milwaukee, take 2 out of 3 from San Diego, and split with Boston. That's how you're 5-3, but you're still a game under 500. Then you look at their schedule, and they've got to travel to Milwaukee and 3 games in Miami, which is not easy. Miami's already given the Braves fits, so they got a quick 6-game road trip. Then they come back for Philadelphia and Miami again, which are more obviously NL East games, all coin flips. Could they do it there? Possibly, but I wouldn't say it's likely. If I'm just going across the board and assuming you're going to be a little bit around 500 against Miami, and even with Philadelphia at this point in time, given where they are and given where we are, and this is kind of just assuming that they're playing at the level that they will, maybe a little bit above it. They'll be right around that 500 mark, hovering a game or 2 below it, is my guess. And then as you close out May, you travel to Arizona and Colorado. And surprisingly, both those teams are above 500. Who knows where they'll be? I think that's another opportunity right there. If they are right below, that they could really go out there and do some damage out on the road. And in those 7 games, 3 against Arizona and 4 against Colorado, really be able to to take advantage of some bad pitching, especially from the Colorado Rockies. But what I feel like I can guarantee is by the time we get to the second week of June and you get 2 against Oakland, 4 against Pittsburgh, and then 3 at Washington and 3 at the Chicago Cubs, which all ends June 19th, which is about a month and a half from now. If they aren't above 500 by the time they finish that, then I'm going to be concerned. By the time they get through the stretch of Oakland, Pittsburgh, and Washington, 3 of the worst teams in Major League Baseball, if by the time they hit that stretch right there for 9 games and they aren't above 500, that's a problem. That's to me when the latest they can be above or can't be above 500 before I start to feel uncomfortable with things. Given the opponents that they play over the course of the next couple of weeks and the next month plus, they'll be playing some really good teams. Now, again, are the Braves capable of heating up and going on a run and going on a tear and winning, 7 of 9? Absolutely. They have the talent, they have the pitching, they have everything you need to be able to do so. But it's tough to do that against really good teams. They have really good pitchers out there too that they're going to face and really good bullpens that they're going to see that are going to be able to keep the Braves offensively in check. And again, I look at all the NL East games as sort of toss-ups right now. They could run the table on those. They can get beat on those. It's really hard to figure out when they get to the middle of and end of May against Miami and Philadelphia, which they'll play them at 10 games in a row, both home and road, between the Marlins and the Phillies. So who knows? It could happen there. But again, I think once you get to Memorial Day, which is obviously the last weekend in May, and you're out in Arizona and Colorado, I think that's where it really should start to turn. But then they come back after that West Coast swing and they get Oakland, Pittsburgh, and Washington. That has to be the spot where they're above 500. And that's the beginning of June. And you're really only 2/5 of the way through the season at that point. Right? Like that's, you still got 3 months left. July, August, and September. And you're not even, it's more like you only got 4 months left almost, if you count the middle of June, but still you got 3 full months left of baseball. So you're right where you need to be. And I think that's fair for this team. I don't think you need to raise the expectations anything more than that at this point in time. They are in a good position. They are being able right now to start to get better and figure things out. And oh, by the way, this is also assuming there's no major injuries. I mean, that's a big part of all this. And it's a big part of it for the New York Mets. When is Jacob deGrom coming back? How much better can these guys pitch at this level where they are right now? How much can these guys continue to hit? All that stuff is going to play into it. So there's a lot of things that are going to factor into what the Braves do. And I don't know that we necessarily need to continue to panic at this point in time. What you should panic about is if you're a Braves fan, is this looming sort of Bally Sports streaming service deal that may be out there. I don't know if you've been following this, but you should follow it in the periphery because Bally Sports, who broadcasts the Braves game, and Sinclair Broadcast Group owns 19 Bally branded regional sports networks across the country, including, Bally Sports South and Bally Sports Southeast right here, which we get in Atlanta. And they're looking at a $20 a month streaming service for Hawks and Braves games. And I wonder how many of you fans out there would be willing to pay that each month. I don't have to worry about it. I'm still old school cable guy. I'll always be old school cable guy until they give me a reason not to be. I mean, at this point, when you're streaming together, $8 here, $9 there, $14 here, $12 there for all these different channels that I just give me one company that does it all. It's so much easier of a headache. I don't have to worry about it. I get access to all the streaming services anyway. So if for whatever reason I'm traveling, whatever, I can watch everything on an iPad I'm just old school cable guy like that. I'm not going to go away until, and I think all these streaming services, by the way, are going to start to cannibalize each other and people are going to go back to cable just because it's easier and it's more convenient. I'm not somebody who needs like 8 bills when I can get them all consolidated into one bill. That's just kind of the way I handle things. But I'm curious to see how many Braves fans are willing to pay for it. The NBA has a deal to be able to stream their games. MLB does not have a standard deal across the board. Each club, baseball club, does it individually. Right now, there are only 5 clubs that have agreed to be able to stream their games, and the Braves aren't one of them. And so There's still some dealing left to be done if this is actually going to happen, but I'm sure Bally Sports wants it to happen, and it hasn't happened yet. But if it does, Braves and Hawks fans might be in a little bit of a tough spot one way or another if they'd like to go see the games if they're not going to pay for regular cable. So on the bright side, you might not have to watch the Braves until they're above 500 if this all goes down that way. See, there's a silver lining in everything, folks. All right, speaking of Bally Sports, up next, my good friend Lauren Jabbar is going to join me, Hawks reporter for Bally Sports. We'll talk some Hawks off season as well, maybe a little gambling. That's coming up next right here on A to Z on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you search Locked On Sports Atlanta. We'll be right back.